Good evening and welcome to Kentucky Edition on this Thursday, April the 13th. I'm Renee Shaw. Thank you for winding down your Thursday with us. We began with the latest from Louisville, 3 days after the mass shooting at Old National Bank that left 5 people dead. 2 people remain in the hospital. That includes Officer Nicholas Wilt, who was shot in the head. He remains in critical but stable condition. People gathered last night at Louisville's Muhammad Ali Center for a vigil to honor the shooting victims. More on that as our mass shooting coverage continues.
The bells tolled because no one is an island unto themselves. Each is a part of the main. Everyone's death diminishes me. So do not sin to ask for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee.
Tommy, Josh, Juliana, Jim, Deanna, fathers, mothers, grandparents, children, friends, each one a child of God. These are irreplaceable Kentuckians taken far too soon by a senseless act of violence that is certainly making me feel heartbroken.
I feel like I've relived it over and over again. I've lost loved ones in this city to gun violence over the years. It is devastating, and it's a jarring realization that in a lot of ways you can't really be safe in a lot of places, and it's calling on us to figure out what we do to stop this.
I lost one of my best friends on Monday. But I've got 2 friends and more that survived because LMPD got there in about 3 minutes. These heroes rushing directly in without pause, without regards to their own safety because they knew lives were on the line. Heroes like LMPD officer Nicholas Wilt, who's fighting for his very life for doing the right thing. And officers like CJ Galloway, who, after being hit himself, stayed until the entire scene was secured. I give them thanks, personally, for their selflessness, for their bravery, and I pray, and I hope everybody else joins me praying for Officer Wilt's healing.
We have to come together as family. We have to lean into love. We have to stand together, and to me, love is an action word. Love is about addressing the root challenges that create this public health crisis, which is what gun violence is, and dealing with all of the social determinants of health to create healthy, safe communities everywhere, whether you're at a bank, whether you're at church, on the street corner, at a movie cinema, at a mall. You should be safe. In a classroom, you should be safe.
What we need right now, in one word, is love. In a world where we hear a lot of arguments, a lot of anger, where people try to appeal to hatred and division. How about just love? Love for one another, love for even those we disagree with, answering words of anger with words of love. One responsibility that I know I have is to focus and lift up my friend Tommy and his family, and the families and loved ones of Josh, Juliana, Jim, Deanna. Love, compassion, humility, empathy. They've got to be able to lead us to a better place. While my faith is tested, and it may be even shaken, I do believe. And I still believe. I believe in a loving God that one day will explain to me how this can happen. And I believe in heaven. And Tommy, I will see you again, and we will see all of these incredible individuals again.
Another person in attendance at last night's vigil was Whitney Austin. She was shot 12 times in a similar mass shooting at a bank in Cincinnati in 2018. Speaking to KET, Austin told us what it was like to hear about Monday's tragedy, and she offered some advice on how to help survivors of gun violence cope.
At first, I was in a state of disbelief, didn't think that it was a mass shooting, thought that it must have been another incident of gun violence. But really quickly, it became clear that it was. And my first thoughts were with my friends in the banking community to check and make sure if they were okay. And my second thought was about my experience and taking me back to that moment. As far as what's happening in the state of Kentucky, my organization is focused on a piece of legislation called Crisis Aversion and Rights Retention, CAR for short. And we have had bipartisan support from the beginning, and we continue to have bipartisan support. So I am eager to see how far we can take CAR with our next session. What it does is allow for a legal path to temporarily transfer a firearm away from a gun owner who is in crisis, a gun owner who is intent upon harming self or others. We don't have that option today. And while we don't know everything about the shooting that happened on Monday, it has come out that there were warning signs and that this person was suicidal. But yet we didn't have a tool to do anything about it, and CAR could be that tool. I can only offer what helped me in this situation, and it is making sure that we anticipate the needs of these survivors. For me, people would show up with meals, gift cards, help take care of my children, be my chauffeur to physical therapy and mental health therapy. I received endless supply of letters of encouragement. We must do all of those things for these survivors and for survivors of gun violence across our state, because it's really difficult, whether it is the mental journey that they are about to take or the physical journey they are about to take. It is going to be one of the hardest things that they have ever done in their lives. You know, I feel really comfortable telling you about what happened to me, and I use that as a tool to affect change. But I know many survivors of gun violence who don't want to talk about it at all. And so I think it's being respectful of each individual and just asking, do you want to talk about this? What can I do to help you? Because many times, you're not in a position to organize your thoughts, to tell people what you need, and to ask really makes a difference.